Hello everyone, this is Engineer Abdul Rahman and welcome to Learning Studio. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic from electrical engineering, that is partial discharge. Without wasting time, let's move on the topic. So the topic is partial discharge. So first of all, what is partial discharge? According to IEC standard, which is 60270, partial discharge is actually a localized electrical discharge that is only partially bridge the insulation. So it is not fully bridged, but it partially bridge the insulation. And this is a visual of partial discharge, and here you can see this is a partial discharge, and this is also a partial discharge that can ionize the air around the conductor. Further, it does not completely bridge the insulation. It is consequence of local electrical discharge, and the PD is evidence of degradation of insulation. Actually, when PD occur, the insulation of we can say, if we are discussing the cable, so the insulation of cable will degrade or its life will decrease and generate a current pulse. The partial discharge, whenever a partial discharge occur, it will generate a current or a voltage pulse that can be displacement of a charges. So here this is a partial discharge, and if we say this is a void in insulation, so void can create a partial discharge, and further on it become a pit, then pit lead to electrical tree. This is a train phenomena, and then finally which start from the partial discharge will lead to a final breakdown, or we say a complete breakdown. So this is a waveform. Here we can say this is an input voltage in green color, and in red this is our partial discharge that are occurring in initial stage of the input voltage, and when it moves towards the negative cycle, and here this is a partial discharge. So this is a simple, we can say, the current pulse of a partial discharge. So moving on, what are the causes of partial discharge? It is very important to know then why the partial discharge occur in the insulation or around the cable. Excessive voltage, contamination. If there is a contamination in insulation, then there will be a partial discharge. A bubble or a void, degradation, and this is important. The non-linear electrical distribution. This is the main cause of partial discharge. Here we can say this is a non-linear distribution of electrical field. Actually this is a linear, which is equally distributed, but here the electric field is non-linear. So as we know that where the field lines are closer, the electric intensity will be greater, so that will cause a partial discharge, or we can say a partially bridge the insulation. And lastly, the presence of moisture, crack, and the water pockets. So these are the causes of partial discharge that occur in the insulation. So here in this visual we can see this is a treeing phenomena. This is a vented tree, and here bow tie tree. This is a void that can cause the partial discharge. This may be a crack that will lead to a partial discharge, any contamination, any other material in the insulation. So these are the causes of partial discharge. Moving on, what are the types of partial discharge? There are the three types of partial discharge. First is corona partial discharge, or we can say the corona discharge. Corona discharge, actually this is a common discharge that will occur directly into the air. This is a phenomena that will occur in the air. The high voltage electric field ionize the air particle, so that is the main cause of corona discharge. So this is, we can say, a conductor. This is a high voltage conductor, and here this is, we can say, a lightning or a visual of a partial discharge. The second type is internal PD. Internal PD, this partial discharge is a silent defect where there is a no sound. It is very crucial and very dangerous because we couldn't know that the partial discharge occur. It is a silent defect, no sound, no smell, or no visual, caused by the defect of solid insulation. This is caused in solid insulation. So here this is a visual, this is a void. We couldn't see from the outside that there is a void in the insulation. So this void, or we can say this hole inside the insulation, this causes a partial discharge. And lastly, the surface discharge, when the discharge travel along the surface of the insulation. If we say the visual, this is the visual. this is our insulator, and the partial discharge is traveling from the surface. If there is a water, or we can say there become a path that leads to the final complete breakdown. So also a surface tracking, it is also called as surface tracking. So this destructive type of partial discharge occur due to the contamination or a moisture. If the temperature of the environment is low, or there is a moisture, so that will cause a surface discharge. Moving on, what are the PD detection methods? So there are the many methods that are using in industry for the partial discharge. Some are conventional PD detection method, some are the advanced, or we can say the modern PD detection method. So this is a graphical representation. Here we have a partial discharge setup, or we can say our test setup where a partial discharge occur. So firstly, this is an optical effect. So if we observe a light, then it will cause a optical effect, and it will be censored by the optical instrument. Secondly, if partial discharge occur, the pressure wave, or we can say a sound wave, will produce. So this is a mechanical effect, and this can be detected by the acoustic, or we can say the optic acoustic. So I can show you, or you can listen a partial discharge from here. So please listen. So did you hear? This is a partial discharge. So this is a sound of partial discharge. The third one, which is the discharge effect or dielectric loss or high frequency wave, this will be detected by the electrical method. So this is the electrical method, and it will be detected by IEC standard 60270. And high frequency wave, or very high frequency wave, or ultra high frequency wave. So these are the two method that is used in electrical method. And the fourth one is chemical effect. This is detected by the chemical reactions. And the last one is heat. If the partial discharge occur, then there will be a heat present there. So these are the detection method that are used in industry, or we can say in the electrical labs. So that's all from today. Hope so you understand about the what is partial discharge, or these are the detection and the causes of partial discharge. So if you have any comment or suggestion, you can put it on the comment section. And thank you very much.